with IPA, the apex body brought together Indian stalwarts and pioneers of plumbing industry. The far-sighted professionals decided to promote development of plumbing and building services industry to equip it for better plumbing for healthy living. The organization currently has 22 chapters across the country with headquarters in New Delhi. IPA has witnessed an unparalleled growth in the second decade of the 21st century. IPA has emerged as a leading NGO in the plumbing industry focused on better plumbing for better living. Over the years, IPA has successfully spread its message throughout the plumbing and building community and society by IPC, an established iconic event of IPA that connects plumbing experts and building professionals. Interactive, informative and intensive experiences that enrich the plumbing fraternity. Till date, IPA has organized 26 Indian plumbing conferences all across India on crucial themes focusing on the human health and hygiene through better plumbing practices, printing Indian plumbing today every month and developing various plumbing publications, celebrating World Plumbing Day on 11th March every year, initiating IPPL skill competition for the betterment of the plumbing installation since 2017, propagating to save water through I Save Water mission since 2019. IPA, being a full member of the World Plumbing Council, hosted the 10th WPC at New Delhi in November 2013 for the first time in India with the theme of environment, health and hygiene. It was attended by delegates from several countries, majorly from China, Australia, UK and US. IPA, in collaboration with IAPMO, publishes various plumbing codes for different domains to incorporate and implement latest technology. These codes are regularly updated, incorporating latest technologies to match international standards. A guide to good plumbing practices, an original creation of the Technical Committee of IPA. It is a ready reckoner for students of engineering, architecture, interior design and related field. The first edition of AGGPP was released in September 2015 during 20th IPC at Nasik. In view of the multilingual readership across the country, it has been released and translated in 7 languages. IPPL, a competition for plumbing professionals that brings skills, thrills and rewards. In 3 years in a row, IPPL, Indian Plumbing Professionals League, has become a huge and popular knowledge sharing and skill enhancement program for the plumbing industry with a touch of competitive thrill and great awards. I Save Water mission launched in February 2019 to save 130 crore litres of clean water in a year to be saved through water conservation techniques being propagated through IPA chapters, an effort to conserve water resource for the future generations. Jal hai to kal hai, jal nahi to kal nahi. The most unique initiative of IPA was to design, execute and establish a dynamic working plumbing lab in the College of Engineering, Pune. It's an effective, live working tool for plumbing professionals including students and building fraternity. More than 25,000 professionals have visited the plumbing lab. In order to spread awareness about good plumbing, IPA has joined hands with CREDI and signed an MOU for implementation of better and safer plumbing for hygienic living. IPA, in association with Messi Frankfurt India, organizes the International Trade Fair for Sanitation, Heating and Air ISH India, powered by IPA.
Your role comes mainly and more into the conservation and optimal use of the water in a right way and to reaching out to the right people. To make this happen, the plumbing industry has done a fantastic job across the world.
And today, what the Indian Plumbing Association and related bodies have achieved is nothing short of phenomenal. When you think about 2006, there isn't one example that I can think of another plumbing industry organization around the world that we have collaborated with so effectively and to mutual benefit.
And I think it is associations like this that will sort of help people realize the importance of plumbing at a very practical level.
I certainly want to congratulate the IPA on reaching a milestone of the 25th conference. That's a real achievement.
So the International Global Plumbing Council has a very major responsibility in this direction to make sure that as much of clean water is available for people, both for drinking and also after the waste is disposed.
A very good evening and warm welcome to all NEC members and IPPL participants in the 6th and last session of IPPL 2020. The Indian Plumbing Professionals League, a competition to win that has empowered numerous building industry professionals over the last 4 years. As we come to the close of a very successful and participatory IPPL, I would like to mention a very famous quote by Mr. Nelson Mandela, which says, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." So we wish that all of you are armed with knowledge and education that you have gained through IPPL, which you will use to bring about a sea change in the way plumbing is perceived in the building industry, and make your individual contribution to better plumbing for healthy living and personal hygiene. So as we informed you in the last session that the IPPL finale will be held on 5th December. So I would like to request all of you to brush up your skills and knowledge that you have gained all through these sessions, and log on to the IPA website to get to see the session presentations and the read-only copy of codes and AGGP that is available for you for your preparation. So there are big prizes and rewards that you can get. So be prepared and be armed up with knowledge. So one thing that I would like to mention is that read-only copy of AGGP is available for you, but then AGGP is something that is a must-have for you, and it should be there in your library, because this will not only give you an edge when you prepare for the finale, but also it will be like a always like a add-on for you that increases your knowledge. So we have subsidized its price, and it's available at a price of rupees 500. This is inclusive of the courier charges for all the IPPL participants. So the English version is available at rupees 500, and the other languages, in 6 other languages, which is Hindi, Marathi, Bangla, Gujarati, Malayalam, and Kannada, it's available at a price of rupees 300. So you can order your copy by writing to us at hq@indianplumbing.org. So without taking much time, let's now start a session by calling our IPPL convener, Mr. Praveen Bora, to announce the finale, make the finale announcement along with the winners announcement for the last Saturday quiz. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. So we are coming to the last session, and I hope this will be more helpful for you, because today we will be having a panel discussion with the most illustrious professionals from our industry. Can we have the slides, please?
Yes, sir.
So here we have the winners: Mr. Binod from Thrissur, Mr. Sachin from Mumbai, Mr. Nishant from Delhi, Mr. Vaibhav from Mumbai, Mr. Prakash from Pune, and Vishnu Priya from Trivandrum. So again, we practically cover from the entire country of ours. Very happy about it. Congratulations to all of you. So I am again announcing today that we have the grand finale on the 5th of December, which is a Saturday. And this one is going to be from 4 p.m. instead of 6 p.m. And we are going to finish off early by 8 p.m. And I'm happy to inform you that the chief guest is going to be Mr. Tom Bigley, who is the chairman of the World Plumbing Council. And the demo for the session is going to be conducted today. I think the time schedule should be around 8 o'clock. That we should be able to give you a demo so that we all save time on the 5th. Thank you all again, and have a good learning session today as well. See you soon for the panel discussion.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your great words. So it's time for me to call our first guest speaker for the day, our very senior member, Mr. A.V. Hindocha, to say a few words. Mr. A.V. Hindocha is a civil engineer who passed out in the year 1963. After taking field experience of railway tunneling and chemical plants, he started his own construction firm in 1970 and successfully executed many projects in Mumbai. In 1995, he started Public Health Services Contracting Firm, which is now run by his third generation for high-rise projects in and around Mumbai. His firm has also been awarded by Tata Housing, and he is currently the NEC member from IPA Mumbai chapter. Over to you, sir, to say a few words, please.
Thank you, Nandita, for introduction. Friends, very good evening and welcome you all on the eve of the 6th and the last virtual session of IPPL. IPPL is the flagship event of Indian Plumbing Association from many other events organized by IPA, such as seminar on various subjects related to plumbing, participation in ISH powered by IPA, I Save Water, building live plumbing lab, celebration of World Plumbing Day, etc. through 22 chapters across India and working for no profit basis. I feel proud to be associated with IPA since 2006 when I joined the biggest IPA Mumbai chapter and fortunate to work under the then visionary chairman Sri Gurmeet ji, who is now our Honorable National President, and Sri Sarath V. Rao, who is now Zonal Director, Western Zone. There are many, they are my mentors. Under their leaderships, we have conducted many activities in Mumbai chapter. I am happy to inform you that under Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, we had completed and donated toilet blocks for girls and boys and one physically challenged student for Mangaon's Adivasi school near Boisar in Maharashtra. Friends, this IPPL is the fourth event organized by IPA virtually due to Corona pandemic situation, and the response is very, very good across India. Learning, enhancing knowledge on various subjects through IPA experts in the field of MEP has been organized for our valued members and non-members. Non-members participants will get IPA professional membership worth of rupees 3,500 with facility to convert into life membership by just paying the difference in fees. In this session, you all participants will get an opportunity to share your site-specific plumbing challenges to be discussed. So please share with our IPA experts. With this, I wish all the best and good luck to all participants. Thank you.
Thank you for your inspiring words, sir. It's time now to call our first speaker for the day and begin our session on indirect waste by Mr. M.K. Gupta and Mr. Milind Shetty. Mr. M.K. Gupta is the Managing Director of MKG Consultants and MKG Engineering Services Private Limited and Chairman of KPDK Buildtech Private Limited, New Delhi. A graduate in civil engineering, he is a consulting engineer in the public health engineering, firefighting and allied services with more than 48 years of experience in the field. His consulting firm, MKG Consultants, is involved in various prestigious projects in India and abroad. He is also the visiting speaker or lecturer to various institutions. He is a member of various organizations like IEI India, IWWA, AWWA, WPC, and American Society of Plumbing Engineers. He has presented numerous technical papers and presentations in national conferences on subjects related to his expertise. He is the chapter chairman of IPA Delhi chapter and managing editor of IPA editorial board. Over to the profile of Mr. Milind Shetty, who will be delivering the session, and Mr. M.K. Gupta will be dealing with all the queries. So Mr. M.K. Gupta, Mr. Milind Shetty is the director of Milind Services, which is a leading plumbing, sanitation, and public health engineering consultancy firm, which provides environment-friendly, energy-efficient, and cost-effective solutions. He has a PG diploma in piping design engineering from Pune University. He has worked largely for private clients, government, as well as for semi-government projects. His projects have been awarded by various institutes in the categories like Best Institutional Project, Best Building, Best Township, etc. He has represented the country as a coach of the Indian team for a global competition called Community Plumbing Challenge in 2015 and South Africa in 2016. He is a Green Plumbers accredited trainer of IAPMO and the chapter chairman of IPA Nasik chapter. Over to you, Milind sir, to take up the session on indirect waste.
Am I visible and audible?
Yes.
Okay, great. A very good evening to one and all present here for the...
You can be a little more loud, sir.
Loud? Okay. Okay. Now is it okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Please
that's
go
good.
ahead.
That's great. Great. A very good evening to one and all present here for the sixth and the last session of Indian Plumbing Professional League. Today we will be discussing about two important chapters. The first one, which I will be covering, is indirect waste, and the second is challenges in execution. So to start, let us start with the first topic, indirect waste. Today we will be discussing about why and where should the indirect waste piping system be implemented, what are the design parameters of the indirect waste piping, and what is the impact of it, indirect waste piping, on the human health. So just give me a second, I will switch over to the slides. Okay, Nivedita, the slide is visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, it's visible, sir.
Okay, that's great. So, the purpose. Let us start with the purpose of the indirect waste piping. The purpose of the indirect waste piping actually is to prevent the possibility of backflow of wastewater into the compartment where food is either stored or processed, thereby preventing it from contamination. This contamination may cause a serious health hazard. That is very important to be remembered. The backflow or the reverse flow may occur due to choking or flooding of the building sewers, or maybe due to back pressure or back siphonage. Hope, dear delegates, all of you remember what is back pressure and back siphonage, which we have already discussed in our last session of vents. Now, indirect waste piping. The definition says that a pipe that does not connect directly with the drainage system, but conveys liquid waste by discharging into a plumbing fixture, interceptor, or receptacle that is directly connected to the drainage system is called as indirect waste piping. Now here, one thing which you have to, I'm just refreshing you, is the interceptor. The interceptor, you have to remember, is a device that is designed and installed to separate the unwanted waste material like plastics and solid materials and maybe flammable, poisonous or explosive liquids or gases from the sewer, which may damage or cause malfunction of the sewer system. And so these interceptors are installed. And then you have different types of interceptors. Now, as about receptacles, receptacles is again a floor sink with a dome-shaped grating inside, and we will talk and see about the interceptor in the slides further. See, if you talk about the interceptor, if you talk about the indirect waste piping, then you should always note that there are two types of indirect waste piping system when we talk about the indirect waste piping system. First is the indirect waste piping that discharges to the receptor through an air brake. And the second is indirect waste piping that discharges to the receptor through a air gap. Then again, the air gaps are of two types. See, these are very small and important points, and if you wish, you can please note it down. So the air gaps are of two types. The first is water distribution air gap, and the second is drainage air gap. So now let us see what all these are one by one. Air brake is a physical separation which may be low inlet into the waste receptor, does not connect directly with the drainage system. See, if you look at this figure, then you will notice that due to the air brake which is provided here, this is the air brake. then what happens is there is no physical connection between the indirect waste pipe and the receptor, and this prevents from the backflow to an extent. Here, the indirect waste pipe at many times is terminated below the flood level rim, as you see here. Are you able to see my cursor? See, this is the indirect waste pipe which is discharged or below the flood level rim. Now, this is one disadvantage here, because in case of the receptor being clogged or overflowing, then there is always a cross connection and contamination of the fixture may happen. Now, the second is air gap, water distribution air gap. The unobstructed vertical distance through the free atmosphere between the lowest opening from any pipe or faucet conveying potable water to the flood level rim of the tank, basin or fixture may be called as a air gap or water distribution air gap. Typically, if you see the figure from the bottom of the faucet where from it discharges the water to the flood level rim, this is the air gap. Remember that air gap is the safest, maintenance-free and least expensive form of backflow prevention, and that the air gap has to be minimum 2 times the diameter of the effective opening. Anything less than 2D, what will happen is it may negate the backflow protection. It will not work properly. Contamination may still happen if you have a air gap which is less than 2D. Now we come to drainage air gap. The unobstructed vertical distance to the free atmosphere between the lowest opening of any pipe, plumbing fixture or appliance or appurtenance conveying the waste to the flood level rim of the receptor is called as air gap or drainage air gap. This is typically a 25 mm air gap from here to here, or maybe it should be minimum 25 or maximum, or it should be twice the effective opening of the indirect waste pipe. What happens is this drainage gap prevents the cross connection and contamination of contents in the plumbing fixture or appliances. Now, as already explained, the indirect waste piping should be discharged into the building drain through an air gap or air break, and the air gap should be of 25 mm minimum. Food and beverages handling establishment. The establishment, to be frankly saying, the establishment that are engaged in, say, storage, preparation, then selling, servicing, processing, or handling of food and beverages that are for human consumption as the food and beverages handling establishment. Now, if you see here in this slide, you will see some equipments that should be connected indirectly to the drainage. Now, you have to remember that the indirect waste pipe shall be of minimum 25 mm dia, as I have told you, but it should not be smaller than the drain pipe of the equipment or the fixture. For example, if we take a food preparation sink outlet, then it is of 40 mm, then the indirect waste pipe should be minimum of 40 mm dia. Please remember here that there is a length limitation to the indirect waste piping, and that its lengths should be limited to maximum 4.5 meters. But here is the exception, and that is ice making machine or maybe refrigeration coil, where you can have the outlet.
Back.
Hello.
I would like to request all to please be on mute.
Okay. The drainage connection of the ice making machines or the refrigerant current coil can be of minimum 20 mm dia in size, but not smaller than the drainage connection of the unit. So this is an exception. Now, one thing you have to remember is that there is no limitation on the length of the indirect. There is indirect waste pipe for this type of equipment, that is ice making machine, because the drainage pipe which we say here is actually a condensate drain or a overflow pipe, and so there are very less chances of cross contamination, as these equipments are also mounted at a very high level, and where the contamination reaching of the contaminant is almost impossible. Also, you have to remember that the length of the waste pipe cannot be limited here to 4.5 meters because of the height at which it is installed. So, to cut short, the indirect waste pipe should be minimum 25 mm dia, whereas the ice making machine, it is exception and it can be minimum 20 mm dia. The length limitation to the indirect waste pipe are 4.5 meters. So your indirect waste pipe can be maximum of 4.5 meter long. But in ice making machine, the length limitations are not there. Walk-in coolers. See, the walk-in coolers are constructed normally in big hotels, canteens, and such other big food handling establishments. So now let us discuss about the drainage piping of the walk-in coolers. What we will do is we will first see the figure in the next slide and then again come back if required to this slide. It will make us easy to understand what it actually is. Now, if you see this figure, then you will observe that in the walk-in cooler, the floor drains are provided. Then they cannot be discharged. These floor drains cannot be discharged into the drainage system directly because it would create a cross connection because of the backflow of the drainage system, and then there will be a flooding or backflow into the cooler, thereby contaminating the food contents that we keep into the walk-in coolers. And so if you see this figure, then you will see that the finished floor level of the walk-in cooler is 150 mm above the surrounding floor level. So in case of the receptor being choked or flooded, the fluid or the waste will overflow onto the ground, surrounding ground, but it will never backflow into the water cooler, thus preventing the contamination case. As far as possible, installation of the floor drains, to be very frank, should be avoided below the floor of the walk-in coolers. Even the drainage pipe should not be there. As far as possible, you have to avoid that. Next important thing you should remember here is the vent must not be connected with the other vents. The vent of these waste pipes should not be connected with the vents of the drainage system, so as to prevent from any contamination that may occur because of the airflow between the drainage system and the cooler vents. Now, this airflow happens when the traps become dry or in case of the trap failure, and then your content again may be contaminated. One more condition you have to remember is that if the cooler temperature, walk-in cooler temperature, is below the freezing temperature, then the floor drains, which are here, the trap specifically, must be protected from freezing, because otherwise the fluid inside freezes and then the functioning, it cannot function. And this can be done by applying heat tracing to the trap. Here, there is a requirement of cleanouts at every 90-degree change in direction. This is a very important thing to be remembered. See, what happens is here, the piping installation is normally below the floor, which cannot be easily removed. Secondly, because of its proximity to the food and beverages, you require to take more care than the normal situation. Otherwise, it may contaminate, as simple as that. And so, you have to ensure that cleanouts are there at every 90-degree or direction change, so that the blockage can be removed smoothly. Now here, VTR. This is the short form of vent through roof. This is just for your information, vent through roof. So the vent should be discharged above the roof. This is what I wanted to mention. Now coming back to the indirect waste for piping for food preparation sink. The indirect waste piping shall be directly connected by the means of air gap. Pipe size should not be smaller than the drainage, but not less than 15 mm. See, you have to remember, in case of handling of multiple fixtures or equipments, very important is that you should separately pipe each and every equipment to the indirect waste receptor, and they should not be combined. Normally what happens, if you have a multiple equipments, then you are tempted to connect the drainage together and then connect it to the receptor, but this should be avoided. This should not be done. First reason is to avoid the contamination due to the cross connection in case of clogging. And secondly, what happens is, in case of the pipeline being clogged, then what happens is the complete battery of equipment cannot be operated, and the whole kitchen you have to shut down. So each outlet has to be connected separately. Now, if you see here, if you see this figure, this yellow portion is called as a fixed air gap fitting, and this provides a rigid connection to the waste pipe systems through a properly sized air gap. It's a standard fitting available, and this is commonly used for vegetable or food preparations sinks, and protects the content of the sink from contamination due to this assured air gap which it provides. Connections from water distribution system. Indirect waste connection shall be provided for drains, overflows or relief pipes from potable water pressure tanks, water heaters, boilers and similar equipment that is connected to the potable water distribution system. Such indirect waste connection shall be made by means of water distribution air gap constructed in accordance with the table 603.2.1 of Uniform Illustrated Plumbing Code India. Please remember here that the air gap should be minimum 25 mm or 2 times the diameter of the waste pipe. Sterilizers shall be connected by means of water distribution air gap. Each device shall be separately piped. The developed length shall not exceed 1.5 meters. Now see, what happens normally is, the sterilizer is an equipment that is typically used in the healthcare and industrial applications. It uses the steam under pressure to kill the harmful bacteria, viruses, or maybe fungal or spores and so on. So the sterilizer are used at a very sensitive healthcare facilities, and care should be taken to ensure that the air gap and not an air brake is used while installing the discharge line from the sterilizer equipment. See here, there is an air gap, because in case of air brake, if the receptor overflows, as I have already told you, then that would create a cross connection and would contaminate the content in the fixture, or you may say here sterilizer. Now this is a typical 3-sink unit three-sink unit fixture, which is used normally for dishwashing in restaurants and hotels. Now if you see here, you will see that this pipeline is connected through an indirect waste to the receptor here. This is a corner hole or quarter receptor grating on the top, quarter open grating on the receptor. The indirect waste is directly connected. There is no fixture trap here, if you observe. And the reason is the distance of the pipeline is less than 1.5 meter. Also, if you see, there are no vents. But one important point that has to be observed is that there is a clean out provision for removing the clogging. Now, indirect waste piping. Construction of indirect waste piping shall be in accordance with the code. However, the vents from the indirect waste shall not be combined with the other drainage system vents. This is to prevent from possible contamination because of contaminants or pollutants entering into the venting system. So, indirect waste piping. Indirect waste piping exceeding 1.5 meters but less than 4.5 meters in length shall be directly trapped but does not need to be vented. See, what happens here is the pipe length, if the pipe length increases, then there is always a possibility of the material from the waste getting deposited or maybe even sometimes not getting flushed thoroughly through the pipe, thereby causing a foul odor, which this foul odor may enter into the equipment and contaminate the contents. And so, to avoid this, the traps are installed when the distance increases from above 1.5 meters. The indirect waste pipes less than 4.5 meters in length shall not be less than the diameter of the drain outlet, and in no case less than 15 mm in size. Now, if you observe this figure, you will see that this indirect waste pipe, here the length is more than 1.4 is more than what you say 4.5 meters, and so you will see that there is a trap here, and then you have cleanouts at every direction change to facilitate the removal of clogging. Air gap of 25 mm is always maintained minimum. And then this figure, which is the other figure, you will see here that this length is less than 1.5 meters. So no trap, no vent required, only a clean out is there. And the waste pipe is connected indirectly to the receptor. Indirect waste receptors. The receptor, you should remember, that should be sized properly such that it can smoothly discharge the waste flowing into it. The receptor must be deep enough and wide enough so that there is no overloading or splashing on the floor that could cause slip hazard. Very important. It should be located such that it can be easily accessed for inspection and cleaning, and shall not be located in toilet rooms, closets, cupboards, storerooms, or any other rooms not in general use by the occupants. So these are some of the points you have to consider when you are placing your receptor. Now, this is the picture which shows different types of receptor. For applications where there is a danger of someone stepping onto the open top of the receptor, we can use this 3/4 grate or then half grate, or there is also a grate with a center hole. There is also a grate with a center hole. A grate on the receptors. What happens is these grates allow the indirect waste to be discharged into the open portion and prevent the splashing also. At the same time, they protect the balance area with the grating so that there is no accident. Full grate, as shown here or here, can be used where there is a traffic area. Then there is also a receptor with a perforated, or you can say slotted sedimentation bucket. This is called as a sedimentation bucket. And then what happens is the indirect waste pipe is discharged into this, and the foreign materials which need to be intercepted or retained, like bones, maybe pets, peelings, other commonly encountered debris, they are retained here or intercepted here into this bucket, and then you can always remove this bucket, clean it, and again lift it. This avoids the choking of the interceptor. So these types of interceptor are also available. And then this interceptor again is a very interesting interceptor to explain. This is a if you see, there is a funnel type receptor here, and then this is a grating below, and this is an adjustable grating. You can adjust the height so that this grating height matches with the surrounding ground level. Now what happens is, the area around this conical receptor is the grate which is around this conical receptor works like a floor drain, so that the spillage from the floor can go into the receptor, and at the same time this conical receptor can discharge the fixture fluid without splashing into the receptor. Now again, there are many types of receptor. If you have to discharge a single device, then this type of circular receptor can be there. If you have to discharge multiple fixtures, then you have to separately discharge them, as I already told you. And for that, then you can have a oval shape receptor, so that multiple pipes can be accommodated. Now this is a bad plumbing. Indirect waste receptor, cloth washer standpipes. So these cloth washer standpipes should not exceed more than 750 mm nor less than 450 mm above its trap. Trap shall not be installed below the floor. The trap rough-in is not less than 150 mm nor more than 450 mm above the floor. Let us see in the figure. We can understand these things better. Now, what has to be remembered is that normally this pipe which is here above the trap, people misunderstand this as a tailpiece. But remember, this is not a tailpiece, but it is a indirect waste receptor. This is an indirect waste receptor. And also remember that the average top of this riser pipe or indirect waste receptor should be 900 mm above the floor level. So if this is the floor level, then this top has to be 900 mm above the floor. The reason being is, normally the dishwashers are installed in the cloth washers are installed in the kitchen or are connected to the kitchen pipeline, and the kitchen sink height is normally 800 mm. So when the standpipe is 900 mm, there are nil chances that the fluid or the waste from the kitchen sink, in case of a choke up or clogging of the kitchen sink outlet, entering into the cloth washer, thereby polluting the content. Also remember that this trap should not be placed below the floor, because then what will happen is the cloth washer will drain by gravity, as the tub of the washing machine bottom is higher than the ground level. So this type of installation is prohibited. Now these are different installations. You will see here this as a as a indirect waste receptor or a standpipe of the washing machine, and then here there is a junction box, and you have, I don't know whether it is visible, but you have a water supply connection here in the junction box and a drain facilitation to connect the drain also here. So you can connect the water supply from here to the machine, and the drain is connected indirectly into the receptor. Yes, this is again the same one, a standpipe, and then you have a hot and cold, both water connections inside this junction box, so that you have everything accessible for connecting it to the cloth washer. Domestic dishwasher. No domestic dishwashing machine shall be directly connected to the drainage system or food waste disposal without an air gap fitting. Very important. The air gap shall be installed at or above the flood level of the sink or drain board, whichever is higher. Whichever is higher is very, very important. So you have to install that way. Now, see, this air gap fitting, if you see, is specially designed to, this is the air gap fitting. This air gap fitting is specially designed waste, what you may call as waste backflow prevention device. It can be called as a waste backflow prevention device. What actually it does is that when installed above the flood level rim, it prevents the contamination of the dishwasher contents from the waste or sewage backup. Then again, the air gap fitting also prevents the dishwasher outlet from pressurizing the tailpiece of the trap. See, this is the tailpiece of the trap. If you see, this is the tailpiece of the tap, and we will see how it prevents from pressurizing the tailpiece ahead in the next slide. So this is the air gap fitting. The dishwasher connection comes here, it goes here, then through the air gap, it passes by gravity into the tailpiece. So if you see, this is the blow up of the what you called as the air gap fitting. Please observe that the size of the hose, if you see, this is the connection coming from the washing machine, dishwasher, and this is pumped fluid. The pump discharges this fluid into the pipe, and then this pipe is discharged through an air gap, which is 25 mm minimum, into the pipe which gets connected to the tailpiece of the fixture. Now, up to here, this is a pressurized flow, and from here, this is a gravity flow. So if you observe, you will see that the pipe here is of a smaller dia and the pipe here is of a larger dia, because the carrying capacity, when it converts into drainage, into gravity system, reduces thereby. So to take the discharge, the pipe sizes is increased. Clean potable water can be discharged indirectly into the inlet of the fixture trap, with upper end of the pipe having funnel with top 150 mm above the overflow rim of the fixture sink and an air gap of minimum 50 mm. See, as I have explained, this is the funnel, and then you discharge it with an air gap of 50 mm, and this is connected to the inlet of the trap, not at the outlet side. This is connected to the inlet of the trap. Drinking fountains shall be installed with indirect wastes. A drinking fountain with non-storage type, rather non-storage type drinking water fountain is the only plumbing fixture that may be installed using either a direct or indirect connection chosen at the discretion of the installer. The reason is there is no storage of water. It is non-storage type. And in case of indirect waste connection to the storage type water fountains or water coolers, there is a possibility of contamination of the content from the drainage system. Now about the swimming pool. The backwash and the drain pipes of the swimming pool should always be connected indirectly to the drainage systems. Remember, the backwash volume of the swimming pool is very high, and so the water should not be discharged into the inside of the building. It should be always discharged into the external drainage, because if it is discharged inside the building, then there is always a possibility of backflow, or the area may get flooded because the carrying capacity of the internal drainage trap or the pipe is not designed to carry this heavy flows. Condensate waste and control. As about the condensate waste, it can be connected either by an air gap or an air brake. Again, directly connecting the condensate drain waste pipe to the drainage is hazardous, to be very frank, as the foul gases may spread into the room in case of the trap failure. What happens is, if the trap fails and if you are connected directly, then the foul gases enter through the drain into the HVAC system, and then it throws back that foul and harmful air into your rooms. So it should be avoided. The slopes given shall be 1:100 or even less than that, as There are no solids in this train, the pipe. The pipe doesn't contain any solids. It is pure condensate. And so you can have less slopes. This is very beneficial when these pipes are, we are laying this pipe above the false ceiling, because the false ceiling height can be reduced. So as far as the indirect waste is concerned, this is it for today. And now we are open for questions. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you. Over to you, Nivedita.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Milind Shetty and Mr. M.K. Gupta, sir, for sharing your valuable insights with all our participants today. So, it was great to have you in our last session and the today's session for indirect waste. Time now for us to have our first industry partner presentation for today. So can we have the video for KSB Pumps, industry partner? Thank you, Sujit. Time now for us to move on to our main topic for today, that is the panel discussion on challenges in execution. So this will be a panel discussion to touch base the ground realities of plumbing installations, for which we have panelists from different domains into plumbing industry, from real estate, from consultancy, contracting, and manufacturing. So they would be deliberating on the real challenges faced during plumbing installations, and that would benefit all of you participants. For that, we have three panelists, and the moderator for us today is Mr. Praveen Bora. So I would first like to introduce Mr. Praveen Bora. Mr. Praveen Bora is the convener of Indian Plumbing Professionals League and chairman of Indian Plumbing Association Pune chapter. A civil engineering graduate from College of Engineering Pune and MBA from Pune University. He's also the director of PNP Aqua Limited, a business partners of international brands in India. He has led innovation and adoption of latest plumbing technologies in India, like siphonic roof drainage, solvent and single stack drainage, and silent drainage, PEX plumbing systems, SS drainage systems, prefab channel systems. He was also the part of the team that conceptualized and developed the IPA's plumbing lab at COEP, Pune. So over to you, Praveen sir, to take over the panel discussion for the day.
Thank you. Thank you, Nivedita. We have had our last learning session closing today. I would like to thank Mr. Milind Shetty. It was a wonderful session. And now let us look at, we have gained all this knowledge over the 6 sessions, as we would say, but we should also have some industry perspective. So here we have today the panel discussion, and let me introduce our panelists for today evening. Mr. Siddharth Vasudevan is the Managing Director of Vascon Engineers, a Fortune Next 500 company which is listed on the BSE and NSE. Vascon has forayed into verticals of real estate, EPC, manufacturing, hospitality, and have delivered more than 500 crore square feet, and they have worked all over India in 23 cities. They are into residential, commercial, industrial, hospital, hotels, medical, colleges. So they have covered the whole spectrum of projects that plumbing is involved in. Mr. Siddharth, he is a graduate from the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology in Construction Management, and he has extensively worked in Singapore. Mr. Siddharth has won many awards as real estate icon of Pune by the Times of India, Achievers of Maharashtra awarded by Sakar Group, Excellence Award from ICM. These are the few that we can name off. At CREDIS, Mr. Siddharth is the national convener of the youth wing, and he leads the New Construction Technologies Committee. At CREDI Pune Metro, he is the convener for the Technical Information and Quality Control. Our welcome, Mr. Siddharth. Good evening to you.
Good evening. Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Can I now introduce our next panelist, Mr. Sharad Rao? Well, one of the founding members of IPA, Mumbai chapter, Mr. Sharad Rao is the Managing Director of Engineering Creations Public Health Consultancy and former Chairman of IPA Mumbai chapter. He is now our Zonal Director, IPA Zonal Director. Mr. Sharad Rao graduated from VJTI in 1977 and obtained his master's degree in civil engineering with environmental engineering subjects in 1979 from VJTI. Mr. Rao has a wide range of experience in the field of design and project management consultancy in water and wastewater treatment and utility services like water supply, drainage, firefighting, and irrigation. Engineering Health Creations Public Health Consultancy undertakes MEP consultancy works, and they have extensively worked with corporates and developers like Bennett and Coleman, Raheja, Lodha, Panchasheel, Kalpataru, Nilkant, Omkar, Stoop Consultants, and Vascon Group as well. Welcome, Mr. Sharad. Good evening to you.
Good evening, and thank you very much for the great introduction.
My pleasure, sir. And now let me introduce Mr. Ananta Iyer. Mr. Iyer is the Managing Director of SRV Engineering Private Limited, a plumbing and fire protection systems company, contracting company based out of Kochi, Kerala. Mr. Ananta Siva Iyer is a civil engineer and with more than 20 years in the field of PHE and fire protection systems. He has been involved in the design and execution of multifarious projects like hotels, resorts, hospitals, commercial complexes, and to name a few that he has done: the Greenfield Stadium, Hilton Garden Inn, Orange County Resorts at Hampi, Tamara Resorts at Kodaikanal, the T3 International Terminal at CIL. He was leading the Train the Trainer program during 2019 for Faculty of Plumbing Department in vocational and higher secondary schools in Kerala as part of his commitment to society. He is the current chairman of IPA Kochi chapter. Welcome, Mr. Anant.
Thank you.
We generally call him Siva, so I'm going to continue with that.
Please.
To start with today evening session, which is sort of a culmination and summing up of the total knowledge sessions we had today of IPPL. So we have the best brains to connect again in terms of giving their, I would say, feedback as well as closing of all the sessions, where people can get a different perspective as well in terms of planning, execution, and overall approach to the project. I would like all the three of you to give a 2-minute, you can say, uh, your ideas and your feelings, and maybe not feelings, but how would you take this forward for IPPL and as well as for overall plumbing in the construction industry. So can we start with Mr. Siddharth, please?
Yeah, sure. So I would like to start by saying good evening to everyone. It's wonderful to be here again with IPA. And, on behalf of CREDI and me personally, we 100% endorse IPPL, and we are committed to taking this to a larger scale in the future. This was the first time we did a partnership, a formal partnership. Developers have been sending their staff for IPPL, and we just are interested in seeing this grow bigger and bigger, and we want everyone to benefit out of this. So congratulations on this commendable effort by IPA, the entire team that's put all of together to ensure that knowledge is shared. Friends, in countries like Singapore, once you're a consultant, or a high-level engineer, you need to keep getting credits to keep your engineering licenses valid. We don't have that kind of a system in India, but a course like IPPL ensures that you are updated. It ensures that you have the latest knowledge, the correct knowledge, and it gives you the practical knowledge, which is the bridge between what we know in theory and what is carried out on site. So this is one of the main reasons why it is necessary that more and more people enroll for this. IPPL, according to me, is for everyone. It is for students because, like I said, it helps them bridge the gap between theory and what happens on site, and there is that gap. So courses like this, really help students a lot. It's for architects and consultants because when we ask for coordinated drawings and we try to put the entire picture together, it's necessary that all consultants have an idea of plumbing, of electrical, of the mechanical, HVAC, all of these things, and courses like this assist in doing that. Friends, today our mindsets have changed. Previously, we wanted items which would last, say, for a longer period of time. Today, like say for example, like phones, we want to change them every year or every 2 years. We want the latest. We are not so focused on long-lasting items, but something like plumbing, waterproofing, these are something that have to stand the test of time, and that's why it is very important that we get it right the first time. And like all of y'all know, most of y'all are experienced on site as well, that rectification of a mistake is extremely expensive once the work has been carried out, because there is a domino effect and it affects other works that have been carried out on site as well. And therefore it is very necessary. We have to treat plumbing like the heart of the building. People generally judge the building based on the cosmetics and Italian marble diya kya, ya konsa, means which brand of fittings we're using, all of these things. But plumbing is definitely, according to me, the heart of the building, and we should give it that respect and treat it with that kind of concern that we would treat our own heart. So this is what I have to say as the opening, and I hope you guys enjoy the session ahead. Thank you.
Mr. Sharad, can you take this conversation forward?
Good evening to all, and special good evening to Siddharth. a long time.
Yes, good evening.
Yeah. In fact, I would like to echo the same sentiments which Siddharth expressed in his talk. In fact, it's really regrettable that there is no formal training given in this field of plumbing until IPA came into the picture. In fact, we have the National Building Code and all, but there is nobody to explain how it has to be done. We were following the age-old tradition, but today with IPPL, real flagship project of IPA, at least we have been able to reach. I think today we have got almost about 260 people participating. And tomorrow again we will have an equal number and maybe more earlier. So the reach has widened. In fact, I would like to suggest that it should be a part of the curriculum in the colleges, especially before the person graduates out. It is very, very important, especially for a civil engineer, to understand what is plumbing, to know what is plumbing. Because I believe even in Vascons, they would also agree that top builders representative once told me, Sharad, if the electricals fail, I can get a DG and start it. If the air conditioning fails, I can tell them to open the windows. But if the plumbing fails, leakage, or there is no water in today's building, he said, hell breaks loose in my office. So how important it is and why it is being treated like this in a shop. But thankfully, over the last 10 years, I have been seeing that a great amount of effort is being put in, and it is being today recognized as one of the most prominent fields in the service industry. Thank
you. Thank you, sir. Shiva, can you share your comments?
Yeah, I'll go more specific. Good evening, the moderator, Mr. Praveen Bora, my co-panelists, Mr. Sridhar, Sharadji, my colleague from IPA, Team HQ. Good evening and a very warm welcome to all the IPPL participants. As you know, this session we are going to discuss on challenges in execution. The challenges in execution is a long subject. We cannot not discuss within 1.5 hours or 2 hours. Execution part is very important in any system, and when it comes to plumbing, is the most important one. However brilliantly the system has been designed by a consultant, or however beautifully the drawings have been prepared by the engineer or the draftsman, unless it is executed properly at site, you will not get the desired result. Your expectation and the finished product will never match. That's the reason why the execution is very important. Plumbing is a part of building services industry. You know that. Building services are grouped under MEP. You know what MEP is: mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. And you know the importance of building services. Just imagine a building without any services in it. It's just a dead space, not at all a livable area. From the MEP, when you bring in the mechanical services, the HVAC is on. It looks good. When the electrical services are brought in, your lights are on, your fan is on, looks better. When your plumbing services are brought in, you have access to drinking water, you have access to toilet, you can use wash basin, you can use WC, you can use the bathing facilities. The building will become livable. That's the importance of building services. As Sharji said, though the building services are the having utmost importance, it is not taught anywhere. Plumbing, you know, it's a vast subject, and the importance of plumbing within the building services, again, the utmost importance, having in the utmost importance. And we will discuss more on this in the 1.5 hour session under challenges in execution. Thank you all for joining in. Thank you, Praveen, and back to you.
So basically, when we talk of challenges in execution, I think we also need to give, as Mr. Siddharth told me, we also need to give uh, importance to how it is planned as well. And from that perspective, what are the points that client should consider while giving a brief to the consultant regarding this any project or anything? So who would like to take this question?
I can take it if you permit me to start.
Yeah.
See, there are various types of projects. Some are standalone buildings. Today, the emphasis is more into bigger layouts. Most of the buildings are over 200,000 square feet. So definitely a sensible planning is required right from the beginning for the project to be a success. The client, when he takes up a project, I'm sure he would be having a very big list as to what he wants to get out of this project. Initially, what we generally call is a wish list. That the wishes could be anything. You could always think of dream about making the best building. There's nothing wrong. So you bring out the wish list, and then with consultations with your team. And when I mean the team has to be all the clients, responsible people who are supposed to deliver the goods in time. The consultants team, plumbing, air conditioning, and all the total MEP unit. And even like when I used to work abroad, how it was that even the project team, the head of the project team is a part of that. And here I would like to specially say that, in my opinion, the most important people on the first meeting for a client is the plumbing, the structural, and the architectural. So, because plumbing right from the first day, it has to be well defined. Because the bottommost structure in a building or in anywhere happens to be the water tank. And this is where the first thing will start in a project. So the client has to define as to what is his doable list. And then only we can move ahead in a proper manner on the project. Yeah, Praveen, over to you.
Taking this question to you, Mr. Siddharth, what would be your views on this particular point?
Yeah, so I agree with Mr. Rao, but I also have this to say that most developers are not technically qualified to take certain decisions because they are businessmen by nature. Okay, these are people who don't have a civil engineering background. Most of them I'm talking about, but they have a fantastic big business acumen, and that is why they have survived in this tough environment that is created. So yes, it's important to have a wish list, but of course the consultant plays a very significantly important role in making sure that what that wish list is actually makes sense and is actually the right thing to adopt for that project. Like in shuttering, Maiwan may not be the correct solution for all types of buildings. It is a correct solution for certain types of buildings. There are other shuttering systems that are available for different types of buildings that we make. So similarly, there is no one size fits all solution for plumbing either. And that is why this value engineering has to come from the knowledge of the engineering team and from the consultant, and then it has to be built from there. In a company like ours, if someone comes and tells us, what, this new product is there, then we are so excited to hear about it. We want to understand it, and we want to analyze whether it is the right thing to do. We don't just get excited कि नया है, वापरना है, चलो करते हैं. That is not the approach that we like to take. So a well-informed decision makes a big difference going forward, because these are decisions that you cannot change once you have taken. In the middle of the project, I cannot say, I don't want PEX anymore, you give me something else. Once you have decided that you want to go with a certain system, you have to go ahead with it. The cost of changing that is so ridiculously high that you can't take it. So this is a very significant thing at the initial stages of the project. And I think if you have done a good job at this point, that is half the battle won. And you're definitely going to get more and more repeat orders from that client. This is what my opinion is.
I would like to add on to what Siddharth said. Is you mentioned the word value engineering.
Yes.
Right? This term, unfortunately, when it comes to services, most of the value engineering comes down to
cost,
bringing down the cost of the project.
Yes.
It's just like knocking down certain very important things. I wouldn't say that it's being done with all developers, but most of the time, because by the end of the project, you always fall short. The project has exceeded the budgets. I've rarely seen a project which has been done almost within the tight budget. So it always exceeds. And in these three disciplines, the poor guy who suffers most is the plumbing. And that is where the project starts failing. Because in the very first meeting, the most important decision which a client and everyone is the site drainage. Because this is where the site drainage will decide your plinth levels, your ground levels, and especially when you are going in with bigger layouts, it is always, we always say, typical engineering is always move from the whole to the part. So define the phases very clearly, get the master plan working, and decide on the drainage of the master plan, especially stormwater. And the sanitary is next, but stormwater drainage is one of the main reasons why bigger layouts have miserably failed. You are seen ponding everywhere, not because the workmanship is bad or anything is bad or the consultant was bad. It is just because that the planning has gone haywire.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I think going forward, this is going to change now because, with RERA coming in, it has brought a sense of accountability on everyone. So previously, you're absolutely right when value engineering was used as a very gentle term for cost reduction. But now, if once a developer knows and once a team knows that they have to maintain this entire thing for 5 years, there is a defect liability period, which was not there in the past. Automatically, certain decisions, the way you take them have changed because the game has changed.
Yes.
Okay. Previously, if I made a society and I handed it over, mera kaam khatam ho gaya. Now it is no longer the case. They can go to RERA even 4 years, 11 months later and say that this guy is really harassing us and he's not done a good job. And in the sense, a developer will have to fight it out. So since the dynamics of the game has changed and people, change will not happen overnight. So the acceptance to this is slowly happening, and therefore you will see, going forward this change with at least most good developers. You will not find this as a challenge, but you will see that the percentage, if it was say 20% of the developers were doing it, 80% were not doing it, slowly you will see those numbers change, and which is the best thing for the industry in totality.
Praveen, from the contractor's perspective, what I can tell you, the wish lists are good, but if it has to be materialized at site, you need the supports of site team. And I would say that the consultants will have the luxury of discussing about the project right from the day one or early stages. And when it is transferred to the contractor, many things are getting filtered out. So contractors are to be taken on board. At least the architectural drawings are frozen, or at least when consultants are taken on board, immediately you should take contractors on board. And contractors also should have or the on-site teams should have a chance to interact with the client and understand what exactly they want. Then only this can be materialized at site. And always things are not happening because contractors are appointed at a later stage, even after 6 story is constructed or 10 story is constructed. By the time half of the work has been completed, then we will go and do the core cutting, or you will break somewhere, and you will unstable the structure itself. So I would say a contractor has to be taken on board as early as possible. Back to you.
Praveen sir, there are a few questions in the chat box pertaining to the question that you just asked, and they have been addressed to some of the panelists, so you can take them during the course of the discussion if you want.
Sure. Okay. Uh, I have got a list of questions, so I am going by that.
Sure.
So basically, what I realized from the interaction we have currently had is we need to have better coordination, better understanding. And I think one of the important threads in all this discussion that I realize is happening is uh, the participation of architect in the overall and his understanding about the plumbing systems, because a lot of challenges as a contractor or as a consultant you face uh, is that the knowledge base among the particularly services design among the architects. um, have you been comfortable with it, or what has been your experience, or how should that coordination, because as Mr. Siddharth said, a developer in most of the cases is looking at it from a commercial point of view. An architect is only looking at the design aspect of it. But sometimes I'm worried when we talk of design, because internationally you go anywhere, nowhere do you see a plumbing pipe outside the building, or a shaft, grills and everything. The architecture is much more appealing. So are they really looking at design? Are they really understanding how the services have been done internationally? Why we cannot adopt these systems? What would be your views on that? If Mr. Siddharth, you can take this question first.
Yeah. So since you spoke about internationally, what happens internationally is that the architect is the king of the project. A client appoints the architect. All other consultants are appointed by the architect, and therefore the buck stops at him. So if you see a pipe outside, or if you see some kind of an offset which is not as per plan, all of that goes against the reputation of the architect. And that is the major difference between the way we do work in India versus many of the countries outside India. So once a consultant is in charge of everything, then a coordinated drawing or a consolidated drawing with all services, he will not start without that, because end of the day he knows that uh, it all comes down to the way he performs for him to get repeat orders from these guys. So that is one of the biggest differences that we have. In fact, let me tell you a very interesting story. When I was in Germany for an exhibition, and I met one of the most reputed architects in pretty much now in the world, uh, and he was showing me the way they do shop drawings and the way they do drawings. So it was a window detail, a screw, a window detail that had to be screwed to the building. And in the drawing, it had a list of the inventory with the number of screws that are required. It showed the drill with the make of the drill that is required. And the most interesting thing were the last two items. The last two items was a bucket of water and a mop, which said that when you finish this work, don't go from here. First you clean and then you go. So there are people who are doing it to that detail, which is like today we cannot think of it. But I was absolutely impressed to see that some architect is even thinking about housekeeping, which is, so we are a very, there's a very big gap between where we are today and where we can go. And if you see what he has done is nothing that we cannot replicate. We just need to put a little more brain to it and apply ourselves, and it's not so difficult actually. So so there is, we are a progressing country, we are a progressing industry. So I think going forward, all of these things are going to be the kind of things that add value. And this is what I really mean by that value engineering, not just the cost part of it. Yes, there is that cost issue and it will always be there. I'll tell you, we cannot escape cost because our DNA is like that. We are all this thing. We are just tuned to that system. So but to progress, we have, there is a lot to do, and it's very exciting that there is a lot to do and to improve ourselves, because to keep on improving is what gives us satisfaction. So, that is what I would like to say.
Sharad sir.
Praveen, you just spoke about, whether the architect is fully aware. Because today we are talking only about plumbing. We are not talking about the entire MEP, I believe.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, we are talking only about plumbing.
Yes.
Now, I have seen a marked change with the architect's perception over the last at least 6-7 years. That they have realized that plumbing is a very important part in a building. They have recognized it, that it is an engineering. Yeah, there might be some of them who may still be ignoring and leaving it to the contractor. But today, good buildings, good architects definitely have a consultant on board. And they are also very much aware about the new products which have come out, thanks to the internet, thanks to the exposure, thanks to even the exhibitions that we have been doing over the last 8-10 years, which architects are visiting, and their vision has also come down to them. Because now, earlier it was only front of the wall. They were only bothered as to whether this is from one of the best sanitary ware guys. What about the fixtures or the mirrors? And then, as Siddharth said, that tiles, and only about cosmetic things. But they were never worried about back of the wall. Today, there are architects, including some builders also, small-time builders also. They are talking about PECs. They are talking about single stack system. They tell me that उस building में एक ही pipe में सब उतारा. हम लोग कर सकते क्या? So, this is the change we are seeing. This is really the change in which I believe that, because we are not seeing now the industry as he is a consultant, he is a contractor, he is just a manufacturer, he is a vendor. Everybody has got his due role to play in a project, and everybody is going to get his due share. It is not like before that architect is the king. Of course, he's still the king. There is no doubt, because ultimately he owns responsibility for the whole building. So he is one of the guys who has made the vision. He has got it. He has, as Siddhartha, when in abroad, many of the times it is all under one roof. Most of the top architects, they have got everything, in which I have also worked for almost a decade, wherein you had all the services, engineers, the consultancy under one roof, right up to PMC. It is only the contracting is what they don't do. And believe me, whenever you used to talk, I think this slowly is entering. Two manufacturers or two vendors don't see each other as competitors. They are willing to give their details to the consultant. They are willing to share each and every nut bolt detail to the consultant, and not thinking that this is going to be my proprietary item, I should not reveal. Because he knows that the way forward is by doing a good job. Way forward is by selling my product through proper technical knowledge, not just price. Of course, price governs. At the end, everything comes down to price. But price not at the compromise of quality. This I am seeing definitely a change in the system.
So Siva, when you are executing projects, do you encounter that in coordination with architects, understanding of services, or I would look at the other way around, since Mr. Sharad Rao has expressed that even architects are now trying to understand things. So let us look at it from a positive perspective, that after the project was awarded to you, you have gone back with your ideas, with your experience on projects, and the architect and the developer has come forward and agreed to your suggestion and it taken it forward.
Yes, very much. I agree with Sharadji. There is a huge change in the mindset of architects in the recent past, at least for last 6, 7 years. While I joined this profession 22 years back, and when I go for a side meeting, when they conduct the meeting, architect will sit on the other side of the table, and then they will invite initially the principal contractor or the civil contractor first, and then they'll call the HVAC guys because they are giving the air conditioning, cool, chill experience, and then the electrical guy because they are afraid about getting shock, and then the elevators, and then bring all the contractors or consultants up to the landscape consultant. And then finally they look for a chair, it will not be available. And they will call the plumbing contractor or consultant. And then they will ask the site team to bring a chair from the site store. And this chair will come with one hand, broken like this. And they will invite me. I go and sit in the last row. And they'll discuss all services, and at the last stage or at the time when they have to go for lunch or they have to take a break, they call the plumbing team to discuss about plumbing. That was the scenario 20 years back. But now I can tell you that when a meeting is being conducted, the first name they call the plumbing contractor or consultant. That's the important change during the past 6, 7 years, actually, because the architect understood, as Sharadji rightly said, it is not limited to the front of the wall fitting. They know the infrastructure is the pipe work, the network, and if something goes wrong, it's going to be very difficult to rectify. So there is a huge change, and many architects, we went back with our suggestions and our value engineering. They have accepted with a wholehearted mind, and in fact, we have saved a lot of money also while adopting value engineering. That's a huge change.
Praveen, you yourself are aware that about 20 years back, did we have this plethora of pipes, the range which is available today? PEX was unknown, while PEX was abroad, PEX was being done from the last 40 years, 40, 50 years.
Yes.
While from here, suddenly, whether plumbing can be done in a way electrical is being done, was like a revelation. But one pipe system, single stack drainage, absolutely, if you talk, they would throw you out of the room. But today it's all happening. And without the architect's cooperation, this cannot happen. Of course, the architect is very happy that that size is coming up now.
Yes.
Because he doesn't see many pipes. That is one of the biggest plus signs. But even then, he also knows that it has to work. Ultimately, the client will repeat him as an architect only if his things work. Vasavan would not go for an architect wherein all his buildings are leaking. Definitely, you will question the architect as to you are in charge of the whole thing. You can put the blame on to me now that this has happened, because at the end, as he said correctly, that many of the builders are really not aware of the technical aspects. They are very good business acumen, but it is our duty to get everything on board.
I can also join in this conversation, other than being a moderator, because I have been working in getting the latest technologies to India, and I can share two of my experiences. One was we were doing a project in Mumbai, office building, and they were losing a lot of parkings in the basement because of the rainwater pipes. They had to come down, go to the other side of the building where the rainwater pits had been made. Drilling was done and everything. And they had to run the pipe in the basement. So they were losing a lot of parkings. So that was the commercial aspect of it. On the top terrace, they wanted also to do landscaping and everything, and they wanted to use the terrace. So they didn't want anything on the terrace as well. So I suggested that why don't we go in for a siphonic roof drainage system. So in your basement, you will have no slope. The pipe will run at the top of all services. So no clash of services will happen. And the pipe comes down in a straight line and just goes. Now, how do we do this in an Indian environment? Because it was a Swiss company. I will not take the name, and they had never done anything similar to this. So what we created a sump in the shaft, ran the pipe, and did everything. And this ended up saving a lot of cost for the client. In fact, they got revenue from it because they could sell the parkings now. So if plumbing is thought as a solution in a project, it can go a very, very, I mean, it is beneficial to everybody. Just that, as Shiva was saying, that the chair used to come the last, the broken chair used to come the last. Now that has changed, but all that has changed because I think even the plumbing professionals have adopted new technologies that are there in the market, and they have given this option to the developer that if we work together, if we bring a better international solution, which they have gained over experience. It is not that we did not have access to it, just that until 1992 our policies for import and getting technologies was not there. Now so taking this forward, now since we are closing all the threads, uh, what do you think about the site execution team from the client side, the developer side, the contractor side? Mr. Sharad, if I say maybe when your team goes to visit to the site, how does it uh, correlate, or do you think that they also need to be trained, or do you think that is also I mean, how should we go about training them or whatever it is to I should say RERA compliant projects, because now everybody is talking of guarantees and warranties. So
See, Praveen, according to me, training is a process. Training is not a one-day matter, or is not a one-week matter, or is not a matter of one single project. So training should be done, but a consultant's team really cannot train. For example, one project I am having, if you expect that the consultant team is going to train the execution team over there, it's not going to happen. Because a separate avenue, a separate mode of training has to be created, which today has been done. You know, there are so many training skill courses, everything available, and people get trained and they come over there. But overall, I feel that a good project manager on site, a good project manager, technically good. There are two ways. There is one guy who pushes things. You know, yeah, you need to push things. But at the same time, that pushing should not happen with compromising on the technicalities or on the correctness of doing a certain thing. So that project manager, whoever is in charge, should be well aware of the drawings. When he is aware of the drawings, then he can percolate there, because I always believe that the goodness or the perfection always percolates from the top. When the top is steady, when the top is good, automatically the bottoms have to perform. But so you start with a project manager, get him properly trained, properly educated. Education, not just by degree, just, you know, go and meet the consultant, ask him 10 questions, ask him 50 questions as to why it has happened. Why this pipe is 3 inches? Why you could? Because there are some guys who come and ask us the why 3 inches. Give me a calculation of that. You know, there are so many people who ask now, give me a calculation as to why it is 1 inch also. Why I can't do it with 3/4. So once he is aware that why there is some engineering into it, then automatically the others will be made aware. So even the plumber on the side, In fact, I always feel that the plumber on the side is a very important person, more than even the managers, because he is the one who is doing it. He is the one who should be made to understand that testing of the pipes is very, very important. ये नहीं कि बस छोड़ दो, अगर टेस्ट अगर साहब आया तो टेस्ट कर लो, log report भर दो and push ahead. No, because the plastering team is waiting outside and he wants to plaster and get out. That should not be the thing. That the plumber should be aware that without testing the pipes, I'm not going to use the pipe. He should be aware that the solvent for a CPVC pipe is different solvent for a PVC pipe, because I have seen, because I have told in my last address also, that this has been one of the major failures in many of the projects. CPVC pipe solvent welding being done with the PVC solvent, pipe solvent. Because the plumber is not aware. He is seeing a solvent over there, somebody has given him, he uses that solvent. So these are small things which he should be made aware. And I think, in fact, I would like to hear it out from Shiva as to how he gets it, because the contractor's person has to be trained much more, because he is the person who is going to deliver more than the developer's person. Developer's person is going to only supervise and push him to deliver. But the contractor's person, and I think there's a great onus on people like you also, Praveen, and the rest of the industry who are representing the manufacturers and the manufacturers to train the contractor's person to deliver a good job.
In fact, I was about to say that when you were saying, as a specifier of products, don't you think that when you adopt certain materials or you give an instruction that if you are using X material or whatever is there at site, the manufacturer has to organize a training program over there. So maybe when the purchase team is making a deal with the company, they will ensure that the training is happening at site. There is proper checking after the project is completed. Why I'm saying this? Because as you know, a lot of training is missing in our industry at the I would say at the lowest level, or maybe a little bit level one, the supervisors, the execution team, because unless and until they get motivated and they understand the importance of it, I think instead of me, Shiva should contribute here as well. Shiva?
Yeah, Sharathi rightly said, consultants predominantly work on papers and contractor does the actual work. Yeah, for training, if you ask me, we have to take project-wise training. We have to give project-wise training, because in some projects we will be using CPVC pipes, in some projects we will be using PPR pipes for water supply or PEX pipes. Or now it varies from project to project. So a charge hand or a senior plumber should give training to the plumbers and assistant plumbers. And you know one thing, when joining the CPVC or PVC pipes, likewise in RCC, there is curing and settling time. For while doing the joining of PVC pipes, when it is used, when solvent cement is being used, there is a curing time, there is a settling time also. Nobody knows. And how to do the joint. The joints are very, very important when you talk about the testing. Joints will give away if it is not properly joined. How to do the joints? There is an applicator which will be given along with the pipes and fittings and the solvent cement solutions. When you buy, the manufacturer themselves will give a applicator. You have to use the appropriate applicator when joints are to be made. And right from receiving the material, you have to stack the material. You cannot leave the materials exposed to sun. What will happen? The pipe will warp, and then while you fix it, either it will hog or it will bend. And you have to clean the pipe, or you will stack the pipe in a clean surface. You have to start from that segment. You stack the pipe properly in a shed or within a constructed space, so that it is not exposed to sun. Clean the pipe before you install. Use appropriate solvent cement solutions. And there are many aspects, many things to be trained to the plumber. When PPR pipes are used, you should know how many seconds you have to hold the pipes. Everything has to be taught to the plumber. So on-site training is definitely required. It to be a project-based training. It is a must.
Mr. Siddharth, I would just taking this discussion forward.
Sure.
When you are doing procurement of lot of materials, uh, now that RERA is there, where they are asking for a 5-year warranty and a
Yeah.
guarantee, how do you take this uh, down to your vendors in terms of suppliers, in terms of your vendors, in terms of contractors? Because finally you can warranty something if you have something that is back from back to back only, because it is not something that you are manufacturing, though the building is yours, but it is more of an assembly.
Correct.
So how do you, how do you go about this task?
So see, one of the key things to this is working with reputed vendors only. So they know that their name is also online, and also they have been doing business with you for a long period of time. And therefore, when an issue arises, they are, uh, they want to resolve it as much as you as the developer want to resolve it. In terms of heavy duty items, for many of the things like our gensets and elevators and all, we always do two purchase orders simultaneously, and we negotiate over this simultaneously. One is the cost of the product, which is the capital cost, and a second purchase order, which is for the 5-year AMC. So by doing this, what we achieve is that for the period of the defect liability, the defect liability period, we are covered by a comprehensive AMC. So if any part is, broken, not working, whatever, the vendor is obliged to immediately. So these are the kind of things that we can do. Now also comes a question of goodwill, and this is where some of the top developers will not care whether he has to put money from his own pocket or whether someone is going to do it, uh, because that project is so important to him, and uh, so he will get it done irrespective of whether it is a AMC or not an AMC kind of thing. And this is the reason there has been a huge shift from developers using any unbranded, any fly by night operator product, uh, from there, which they were doing in the past, to using branded and well received products. And this is the reason why even Mr. Sharat Rao said that even the small developers are asking questions like, why can't I do single stack and why can't I do pegs? All of this is coming out of the problems that they faced in the past, and they don't want to face it in the future, and therefore they are looking for better systems. So this is how the industry is moving, and you'll see that over the years this is going to be a much more mature industry, and there is going to be a larger understanding of all these developers of products that are available and how to use them as well.
Shiva, as a
Sir,
as a
we need to
contractor.
take.
Hello.
Yeah, Praveen sir, we need to
let
take a
me
break for an industry partner presentation. Would you like to do it after this question or?
After this question, please.
Okay, okay.
When you are, now that you have to give a 5-year warrant guarantee, part of the RERA requirement that a developer would say, or if you don't give a guarantee also, but obviously your reputation is at stake, and you have to maintain the facility for 5 years. Do you connect with your vendors? How do you go about this task of procuring materials and ensuring that the quality of materials and everything? Yeah, Shiva.
Thanks to RERA, architects or consultants or the promoters, they will buy only good quality materials. Otherwise, they always deviate from the list of approved makes which are suggested by the consultant. Now they will stick on to that. That's the very important thing for us also. And they will listen to plumbing contractor also, because earlier and all now we have discussed about reducing the footprint area of plumbing, or squeezing out area from the toilet, or reducing the size of the shaft and all. Now it is not going to happen. They will listen to the plumbing vendor. They will accept the size of the duct, what they wanted. They will accept all other conditions.
No, I'm not talking about now developer. I'm talking as a contractor. You are buying all these materials. You are buying pumping systems. You are buying pipes. You are buying valves. You are buying solar systems. So how do you go about it so that you ensure that at the end of the day, once you execute a contract and you are out of the project, but how do you ensure that all these people are going to give service back?
Yeah, we will.
How they will manage?
Yeah, we initially we will have a shortlisting of the vendors, and we'll go for reputed vendors only.
Do
And
you
we'll,
ask any guarantee or warranty, or do you have any such commitment from your partners? That's what I want to ask.
no, almost all the manufacturers, other than sanitary fixtures or fittings manufacturers, other equipment manufacturers are giving only 1 year or maximum 1.5 years warranty. So we have to depend on reputed manufacturers, so that no, our based on our previous prior experience. So in fact, we have installed many equipments without any complaint for last 10 years and all. So we will choose from our experience which are the good quality products. For sanitary fixtures or fittings or similar products, the manufacturer gives 7 years, 10 years warranty.
Okay. So taking this question to Mr. Sharath, and after that we will take a small break. Sir, what do you advise clients to do?
Regarding?
Selection of vendors.
Selection of vendors.
From the perspective of giving guarantee, warranty. I mean.
See, I would just give you one example. A sewage treatment plant.
Yeah.
STP, or a water treatment plant. These are two things.
These are all capital goods, as well as they have a lot of maintenance.
Those, see, in pipes and walls and all, these, like walls is an item which is, it can malfunction. It can be replaced. It's not a big threat to the building. Yeah, some damage to your pocket, some inconvenience. Pipes, like Shiva said, pipes generally don't burst. It is the fittings which give way because of bad workmanship, or not using the proper applicator, or not doing it the proper way. Most important thing in plumbing which warrants a failure is pumps, sewage treatment plant and water treatment plant, which are all big ticket items.
Yes.
Right? Now in sewage treatment plant, the contractor will finish the project. A plumbing contractor, generally for a decent building, you will finish the building in 6 months' time. Say about 2 lakh, 1.5, 2 lakh square feet. If you give him all the proper things, 6 months to 8 months is needed. The STP vendor, because civil works are ready, you would finish off the work in about 3 months or 4 months. Testing, commissioning, 1 more month. Now we all know that after the building is ready, it almost takes more than 2 to 3 years for the building to reach full occupancy. And that is when the system shows wear and tear. The STP will, initially what we do, we just do hydraulic testing, that all the pumps are working and everything. And some of them do a mock type of a testing in STP by bringing cow dung or any of these type of materials which have some organic load, and test this, which is really not there. Testing is when the full sewage comes in and how much of it goes out and how much of it is being utilized. This itself takes, the process takes 3 years. So definitely, I would say that as a part of the tender, we have been doing it. But as a part of the tender, when you are making the tender in all such crucial items, put on the vendor a 5-year maintenance period. Operation and maintenance may be comprehensive, maybe non-comprehensive, but very clearly when you start negotiating it, this has to be a part of the total price negotiation. Then only he will be serious about these things, because for the next 5 years, he has to. 1 year defect liability period se kuch nahi hota, because by 1 year the load has not come at all. The pumps are not being really put to real use, because most of the time it is just the carpenters and the interior guys who are working over there. So it is better to put it in the body of the tender, which we can't do it in a normal plumbing tender, but we definitely can do it in WTP, STP. Of course, we can't do it in pumps, but in pumps, when the developer orders, because most of the time these are all bought out items from the developer.
Yes, yes.
Like the sanitary ware. At
Yes.
that time itself, that clause, and only a consultant could guide the developer as to how to do it. Means what type of clause he has to put in to make it as a complete item.
Yeah, because nowadays with RERA coming in, developer has to ensure that a good product goes in. Otherwise, he has to fear the cost pressure in future, and which is substantially higher. So taking this forward, we have a couple of minutes presentation. So please bear with us until I will just scan the questions, and if there is anything that needs to be added, we'll take from here. So Nivedita, can you take over and?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So a very interesting panel discussion is going on, and as we get to hear from the different stakeholders in the construction of a building. We will be just back after a short break, and we have the industry partner presentations of Lahari Walls and New Green Building Technology. So can we have the video for both of these industry partner presentations, please?
New Green Building Technologies, a pan-India distribution house representing key European and German brands like Kessel, Mia, ATT Inox, Smoke and Fire Curtains Limited. Range includes wastewater lifting stations, grease separators, above ground and below ground, oil separators, under sink separators,
Hello.
Kessel bathroom drain channels with odor traps, Kessel shower channels, parking and roof drains, external surface drains from Mia, Germany for all kind of load class, the drains for low depth areas, drains. Slot drains, curved ones for landscape areas. Fire compartmentation through fire and smoke curtains as per National Building Code 2016. Curtains that come down only in case of fire, used in lift lobby, office compartmentation, open kitchens, and basement car parks. Smoke curtains used in atriums. Stuffix, smart range of manual and automatic backwater protection. Kitchen drainage solutions from ATT Inox Poland. Manhole covers for all load class. New Green has completed over 3,000 projects till date. Thank you and stay safe.
Thank you, Sujit. Over to you, Praveen sir, to carry on with the panel discussion, please. Yeah.
Mute. Yeah. Uh, so what I have been observing, our discussion is going on quite positively, and looking at how do we a couple of things, that how do we adopt new technologies. Basically new technologies, what I have observed is, in air conditioning, if something is launched maybe in 2020, by 2021 it comes to India. uh, by electrical also, generally that is what I have been observing, that technology gets immediately absorbed. Whereas in the case of plumbing, uh, somehow the technology adoption has is taking time. Now I do not know whether it is the information, as earlier I was speaking to Mr. Siddharth, he was saying maybe there should be a portal where all this information is there. But I do think there is another way of doing it. We have our Indian plumbing today, which comes out every month, and it surely carries a lot of things on terms of plumbing technology. But I think in terms of plumbing new technologies, what would you, the three of you, advise to everybody, to all the participants, what they should do? Because adoption of new technologies, lot of times in plumbing what I have observed, यार वो बिल्डिंग चल रहा है ना अपना पिछला 25 साल से, क्यों तू ये करना, why do you want to get into this, why you want to change when everything has been working for 15-20 years, why go in for any new change? But what I have been missing is, today our buildings are going taller. Can we still apply the same logic over here, or what should we do? What would be your advice to everybody? So, Mr. Siddharth, if you can take the.
Yeah. So the key for adopting any new technology is looking at it in totality and not just say the product itself. What I mean by this is that you may have a very good product, but if you do not have a good backup team, after sales service team, then it is going to impact the quality of the product, and the product will actually deteriorate faster than uh, the previous product that you were using, and therefore you may feel that the product that you risked uh, is not paying off. And therefore the study just is, it's not enough to just go on the internet and research how the product is, which amazing buildings abroad it has been used. That's only one part of it. It is an important part of the research that you need to do, but how it will perform in Indian conditions is absolutely necessary to see, because you are going to implement the product end of the day in India and not abroad. So after, so these things like after sales service, we even go to the extent of asking people how much what is the technical strength that they have, where are these people, what is the downtime in terms of spare parts, if something is not working, how quickly can we get it up and running again. These kind of ancillary questions are very important while you're adopting technology. it is not enough that someone comes and tells you, "Ki, sir, you will be the first one to use it in India. Nobody has used it up to now," and you start using it just because you want to be the first. More often than not, you will end up on the bad side rather than the good side. So this is what I feel that you should do. You should see also another thing while using technology is you should see how manpower driven it is. Is it going to reduce your manpower or increase your manpower? Today, all of us have a challenge of manpower, having enough manpower, whether it's on site, whether it's engineers, across all the spectrum. So you don't want a product which is highly dependent on manpower, and also you don't want a system which, by adopting that, it may sound like a very cool or a very good system, but by adopting that you have maybe added two activities which you were not doing before. So these kind of things, this is what I mean by when I say that you should look at it in totality and not just as a product by itself.
Mr. Sharad?
I think Siddharth has hit the nail on the head. From the internet, you can download many things, many products. But Indian condition and conditions in Europe or US or in the Western developed countries, our plumbing conditions are much different than what is there in Europe. They are more of what do you call paper napkins, paper towels. This concept is more, so they view it in a different way. While ours is more of lot of abuse into the system, a lot of abuse, because we don't clean our toilets. We leave it to the maids to do it. What the maid does, what he or she puts into the toilet is in nobody's control. Correct? You might have trained them, but still. So when a product, for example, it comes to a consultant, one of the most important things, like Siddharth said, is it the first time it is going to be used here? Okay, because there has to be a first time. Somebody has to use it to move, for the product to move ahead. Second thing is, what is his service capability in India? Now this word channel partners, which has come. Earlier it's called dealer, now it's channel. Who are your channel partners? Whether, because this particular A person who has come over there, he is an unknown face in India. You might talk good English, but that's not sufficient to sell a product. Who is your channel partner? Can this be verified? Means somebody has to sort of, means be ready to own it up. That if something goes wrong, he's ready to replace the whole thing. So I would not use any product which is not backed up with a proper sales outlet, with a proper service outlet, with guys whom I am comfortable with. That, for example, I know that Praveen can deliver. I know Praveen, he has a reputation in the market, he can deliver, he has gone for the product. Going and visiting the product, seeing the product, feeling it with your hands, of course, it helps. Than the virtual media. It always helps because you can always see the trap, whether how it is and everything. But using the product, just because it is successful in Europe, it cannot be. That is why I've seen certain, I wouldn't say a blanket thing, but American manufacturers I have seen coming into India, they remain in the market for almost 1.5 years before they start really selling the product into the market. They establish the whole thing, get into the trade associations, make up a network, and then when they launch it in a very big way. Correct? So that should be, because the trade associations, the other media, like you said, IPT, this somebody has to invest his money, so that it should not be that he has just brought in a truckload of things or a shipload of things and he's dumping it in the market and tomorrow he will disappear, which has happened with so many products. I don't want to name, but it has disappeared and we have faced the music for that. Because the client depends on the consultant, because you have said, you have specified that product and now that guy has just vanished from here. So somehow the blame comes on to me, then I can't Second thing is, one of the most important thing is that today's word is hand holding. You have to hold hands till the end. Because the product has failed, you can't just dump away and get away from that. It will fail. I'm not saying that any mechanical part is subject to failure, but out of 100, if more than 50 fail, I would give that only about 10% failure is allowed as far as these big ticket items are.
Shiva, would you like to?
Yeah, yes. Yes, we are a bit apprehensive about accepting or adopting new technologies in our country. If something is launched at East Frankfurt, it will take more than 10-15 years to come to our country. I remember I have to import water hammer arrestor. In the year 2015, I had to import water hammer arrestor from UK. Zen Wilkins were the manufacturers. I have to import water hammer arrestor from UK. But there are some compulsions because even in apartment buildings, people started using water meters for each flat. In that case, pipes would be routed through either through the living dining area or through bedrooms also. In that case, if you convince the client about using multi-layer composite pipe, for example, I'm not promoting any brand, any make, multi-layer MLC pipes can be used. Accidentally, something happens at the ceiling level. If it is a plastic-based pipe, it can give away or it can start leaking. If MLC pipes are more safer, if this can be convinced with the client, yes, they will accept it. And similarly, on rainwater harvesting, routing down the rainwater verticals, there are new technologies have come in the market. And based on project to project, slowly it is getting adopted in our country. Yes, we are a bit apprehensive in adopting new technologies. Correct.
Now, what has been your challenges in adopting green technologies? Like in IPA, we run the I Save Water campaign where we say save water, and the water can only be saved by somebody who is going to come and stay over in the property, or somebody who is going to use that facility if it's a commercial building. And how do we take this forward? Because there are norms, IGBC is there, IPA is there, government is promoting, propagating that use less water. But though we see this lot of times, I was recently, I can tell you my experience, one of the hospital projects, the guy was just interested, do a borewell, connect it, whether the water is going through it or not, did not matter to him. But just, it is the norm, it is specified, let's do that. But what is missing, what is the motivation required? Because this, I feel, is a major challenge for us as a society, because we are not conserving something which is free, because we don't pay the actually, even for the conveyance of water, forget about the treatment and quality of water. The water that reaches our taps, we don't even pay for that cost. So what should be the way forward for all of us? Because that, I feel, is a big challenge for all of us. So who would like to take this question to start with?
Yeah, I'll take it. See, going green is the order of the day today. There is no choice. There is no water. It has been debated everywhere. A lot has been talked. And a lot of things are happening even on the ground. That we are using these aerators and all these type of stuff which reduces the flow of the water. Now, I have a very big question which I have addressed in some articles of mine in IPT also. Correct me if I'm wrong. Majority of our projects in the country are more residential in nature. Yes, you have hotels, you have office building, but residences occupy the biggest area in development. Now, sewage treatment plant is specified. We are using aerators, we are consuming less water. STP we are using. 30% of that we use it back for flushing. Another 5-10% for gardening or washings, car washings, of all those stuff. Almost 50 to 60% after treating, we are throwing it either back into the drainage system, or we are leaving it in through, in some other way of mode of disposal. This is a huge colossal waste. Waste of energy, waste of natural resource. Huge waste. For example, in Singapore, you have the public utility board. They are using this for industrial applications. Most of the water is used for, of course, they have gone much ahead. They are using it even for drinking purpose, but not in every residence. But the public utility board, in fact, Siddharth later on can throw more light on it because he has been doing it in Singapore. They have been using it for industries, but are we using in our industries? The main problem would be that cost, the infrastructure. You have to build piping network. Yes, there is an initial cost, but believe me, the payback will be in 5 years. Because if you really calculate the amount of water which is going, even I have seen that a neighboring garden for a project, you are ready to give them water. You must see the amount of drama. That neighboring guy, he has a garden, huge. Still, I have to be ensured this. You have to treat it as a social cost. It is not that how much is being coming to my pocket. How do I do business out of it? It has to be seen as a social cost, a social relevance, and then only more add. So this is just not saving water, but utilizing this saved water is also very important. And another most important thing is we also have to think about life cycle cost and energy efficiency. For example, in pumps, in hot water, this is more applicable to the commercial side, to the commercial projects, hotels, industries. Because energy efficiency, it's just not the product. It is even the system which you adopt in the building. For example, a builder would be very happy to do a 30-story to a 40-story building with just one single pump down and many risers going up with PRVs, which if it is not being installed properly or not being used in a proper manner, it's subject to failure. Excessive pressures on the line, because that is the most cheapest way, capital cost. But by energy cost, it is a bomb you are spending. But the same thing, if you would have divided it into a zonal system, how much of energy would have been saved? Tremendous amount of energy would have been saved. And this goes on multiplying. This, if you put it into a big pallet, it's a huge cost. And now Singapore, you would say that's a small country. Yeah, let's also start with a small city. Do it, save that money, put that money into some another next city over there. This is how you begin to grow. Every time if you think that it is capital cost and it can be done tomorrow, there is no tomorrow. You have to do it today itself.
Mr. Siddharth, how would you propose that we take this forward?
See, Praveen, if you remember when you had come to my office for the first time with this I Save Water campaign, I told you something which I stand by even today, that our biggest problem is that water is not being charged. You will only you will only take care of something when there is an outflow from your pocket for you to value it. For us, I feel somewhere our entire system, this accountability is not there. So just blaming only end user is only one, I think, tip of the iceberg, because there's tremendous wastage right from while you're pumping water from the source to the houses, to the residences or the buildings. The kind of wastage that you see there is quite significant in that format also. So we have to all do our part in this. It starts with I, and then it becomes we. This is something where all of us, I think, all the participants who have who have been part of IPPL should also in some way take an oath to ensure that they are in whatever way possible saving the maximum water that they can. So for most of the cases, people still use that 135 liters per person per day calculation. I think that with the kind of fixtures that are there in the market and the kind of technology that's available today, that is too high a number that we are calculating on. We should be looking at, ideally be looking somewhere at half of that. And these are all the reasons that you see where in cities like Pune, where even after you have monsoon running almost till the end of, say, end of September, end of October also this time. Yet when we get into the months of April and May, which is our peak summer, there is alternate day water supply and to some areas of the city. We're just not able to take enough care of the water. It's not that we don't have sufficient water, we are not taking enough care of it. So that is something that we really need to look at. And just to touch on Singapore, since Mr. Sharat Rao brought it up, over there it is a norm that 30% of the water that you drink, bathe, whatever you do, is recycled water. So whether you like it or no, whether you accept it or no, I mean, there is no choice but to accept it. And it is size-wise, it's almost 6.5 million people, so almost the size of Pune, if you had to compare it that way. But so they have very aggressively used technology so to negate their weakness of not having water into a strength of having excess water this way. So I'm not saying that we have to go that way, but to start, at least we can start taking care of what we already have.
See, the biggest guzzler is irrigation.
Correct.
Irrigation is the biggest guzzler. It is not the residences or the water used in plumbing. Irrigation and industries, these are the two biggest guzzlers of water. And very little is being done to salvage all those water. Industries even pollute. So it is double. So a great amount of work has to be done in this.
Now we are at practically 8:20. I would request all of you to give your thoughts, 2 minutes each of you, on what should be, how do we sum up this discussion, and maybe some advice to the participants.
Sure. So shall I start?
Yeah.
So friends, I just want to say this, that we have been sending people from our office for IPPL. This is the 4th consecutive year that we have, our teams attending this. And I personally have seen a vast difference before and after. Their level of confidence, the way they are able to negotiate, the way they are able to ask questions to vendors when vendors tell them that, no, this is the best thing. They will not blindly accept these things. And this is something which I feel is very good, because it is bringing accountability into the system. And at the same time, it is improving the knowledge of the people who have attended. As you all know, over the past few years, the prices of houses have been pretty much stagnant in most cities across the country. And therefore, there is this need for efficiency and optimization even in plumbing. And we must focus on this, whether it is through innovation, through adoption of new technologies, or just getting our act together and doing things right the first time. So I would like to just conclude by saying that, if you grow, your company will grow. And if your company grows, then you will progress. So all the best to all of you all. And I hope you had an enjoyable session today.
Mr. Sharat Rao.
To all the participants, I would say that you have been very good. You have attended the last 6 sessions, and now it's the time for you to adopt this in practice too. Because I think that there are many people, it has been encompassed from all fields in plumbing. There are contractors, there are people from the developer side, there are people from the consulting field, students who are India's future tomorrow. For the students especially, it's a wonderful field. Do join this field. It is no longer just you have to handle shit which was there, what was thought about plumbing. It's really a technology-based field in which that you can do really very well. That is for the students. For the contractor, people who belong to the contracting field, to the manufacturers, to the others, keep adopting whatever you have learned over the last 6 sessions into your practical life. This is going to benefit. There are many things which, like I told in the very first session, there are many things which you might have not have used. For example, like Shiva said, water hammer arresters. You might not have used. Siphonic draining, you might not have used before. But that doesn't mean you will not be using it in the future. Don't hesitate to use these products. You now know all, many of them have come. They have displayed their products. You have their addresses, you have their numbers, call them, gain more knowledge from them and benefit from it. Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best for the main quiz, which is going to come up. And I wish all of you win prizes and ask Praveen Bora to get all the money from wherever he gets it. But thank you very much.
Shiva, could you please?
I will give 3 tips to the beginners to do a good quality plumbing installation, since the subject is challenges in execution. It's a trade secret, but for the benefit of the IPPL participant, I will reveal that. One is the foremost one, do leak-proof joints. How to do leak-proof joints, you have to learn from an experienced plumber. Second one, do plumbing according to the slope. If it is vertical, it has to be truly vertical. If it is to be laid horizontally, if it is drainage, you have to provide slopes. And as advised by the consultant or as per the codes or standards. If you deviate from the codes and standards, it's not going to benefit you. It will give you an adverse impact on the line. So one thing is leak-proof joints. Second one is plumb or verticality or providing sufficient or adequate slopes. The third one, the most important one, is providing adequate supports. If you are doing a good quality joint and if you are doing if you are providing proper slopes and all, but it will not serve the purpose if the pipes are not supported properly. In some scenario, you will see that the pipes are supporting the supports. It should not be that way. Support should support the pipes. So provide adequate support. If you take care of these 3 points, definitely you can give a good quality finished product. Thank you. I wish you all the very best to all the participants.
So thank you all. I would like to express my gratitude towards the 3 of you for sharing your time and your views. So Mr. Siddharth, thank you. Mr. Sharad Ravji, thank you. Mr. Shiva, thank you on behalf of everybody and IPA. So just summing up what you said and some of the points which everybody should take. That plumbing, if it goes wrong, it has a domino effect. So better get it right the first time. Don't think about it again. In the times of Ferreira, look at 5-year AMC. And our friend Mr. Umesh Magar, he has made in the comments in the Q&A a very good suggestion, which I think if we follow is good for all of us. Proper and comprehensive drawings, specifications, procedures are necessary before start of any project, along with site training and regular audits. So he's tried in one sentence, tried to cover up everything what we had discussed. And thank you, Mr. Umesh, and thank you to all of you. I think, Nivedita?
Yes, sir.
So what is next?
So the next I'll call upon our first guest speaker. So thank you all panelists and moderator Mr. Praveen Bora sir for an intriguing panel discussion. And we were all glued to our seats, and as rightly pointed out by Sharad Rao sir and Mr. Siddharth Vasudevan, that wastewater is a resource that has not been tapped in our country to the extent it should have been. And our upcoming issue of IPT, which is Indian Plumbing Today, is going to be on the theme of wastewater treatment in December. So all of you who have enrolled for IPA professional membership will be getting a monthly copy of IPT for 3 years. And so you will be getting, we touch base on these kind of topics, the technical topics that need attention from the building and the plumbing fraternity. So that's it about IPT. Let's move on to our next guest speaker for the day, Mr. Bhaskar Katkargadda. So for the concluding words, Mr. K. Bhaskar is the Managing Director of Revolve Engineers Private Limited, Hyderabad. And he has completed his engineering in mechanical trade. He has more than 30 years of experience in MEP consultancy, and he is into the business of water treatment plants, sewage treatment plants, pumps, piping, and other products based in Hyderabad. He is currently the NEC member and an immediate past chairman of IPA Hyderabad chapter. Over to you, Mr. Bhaskar.
Thank you. And my video I could not on. I think you have to start. Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me as a guest lecturer for the day. And I'm proud to be like a member in IPA since 2014. Like I was there in IPA in various positions, working for chapters, and I really enjoyed working with IPA. And IPA is a place where for the new friends and members, I could see that 250 people approximately today now at 8:30 evening of Saturday. Please understand, friends, for the new people who are just come the first time to the IPA, maybe the students, maybe the people who are a different fraternity. IPA is not just the plumbing, and thinking that not only just plumbing, it's lots of design, science, deals with environment, deals with the health, deals with the hygiene, and of course with the many products which are day-to-day deals with your life cycle. Please understand, the second you don't have water, you can think of your life. The second your washroom is not in operational, you think of your life. And today I can proudly tell, plumbing is a business, plumbing is a profession where today lots of opportunities for the people, for the youngsters, where like I can surely tell you like is that your income levels, your satisfaction levels are far better than any of IT field. And Indian Plumbing Association is dealing with lots of support for national building codes, preparations of that, advisory roles. Lots of codes has been brought for the comfort zone of the people. Lots of conferences we're conducting, lot of exhibitions we are conducting, lots of tech talks we are conducting, and lots of activities as a responsible Indian citizens. Like construction of bathrooms and washrooms for the colleges, the schools, and the needy people, and campaigns like I Save Water. And of course, we also do lots of guest lectures for various colleges, various applications. And more than all these things and all, the guys who are basically into newly coming to this has to understand, you will come across a lot of opportunities like beautiful networking with lots of architects, manufacturers, consultants, builders, PMC people, project managers, whatnot. The association will give you a great support, great comfort zone for a future. And you have to be like, for sure, I can promise that whoever is choosing this line as a profession will not have any regrets in life, and they will see a bright future. And by taking this time, like, let me thank our supporters, like for this IPPL sessions of the year 2020. Of course, this is our fourth year. Let me thank our platinum sponsors, Astral Pipes, Fenolax, Hewlett India, Kirloskar Pumps, and Willow Pumps. Let me also thank our gold sponsors, Asian Paints, Bath Sense, Gabriel Plumbing Technology, Grunfast Pumps, Mupro India, and Wavin. Our silver sponsors, KSB Pumps, Lahari Valves, and New Green Building Technologies. Associate sponsors, A Square Water Management Solutions, Franklin Kluga Pumps, Kimplas Piping, and Perfect Valves. I take proud and feel happy, and I had to congratulate Mr. Praveen Bora and team for conducting a beautiful event this year as a responsible this one, and as well like all the speakers who has taken their wonderful time and conducting of this. And I wish you all the best. I think for the grand finale, everybody must be getting ready. Thank you all. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your inspiring words, sir. It was great to hear it from you. So before we move on to the grand finale demo, I have an important announcement for all of you. So as this is the last session for the people who are attending the session on Saturday, so there is a feedback form that has been, the link for that is put on the chat box. And your feedback is very valuable to us. So that will help us to bridge the gaps and create an impeccable show for the IPPL 2020. So please click on the link and submit your response so that we can get to know that how have we performed in this IPPL 2020. So let's move on to the IPPL finale quiz demonstration, for which I would like to call upon Mr. B.O. Prasanna Kumar, who is the chapter chairman of IPA Bengaluru chapter and the IPA technical committee member, and Mr. Subhash Deshpande, who is the technical committee member and also the past chairman of IPA Pune chapter. Over to you, sir, to please conduct the demo for the finale. Sir, we cannot hear you, Prasanna, sir. Prasanna, sir, we cannot hear you.
Sir, can you check your volume again?
I think Subhash, sir, can be online till the time we have a sound issue from Mr. Prasanna.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, sir.
But let Prasanna try.
Okay.
2 minutes. Yeah.
Okay.
He's connecting again.
Yes.
Able to hear now?
Yes, sir. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, Sujit, can you run through that the video of the which is made for the final the different rounds of our quiz?
Yes, Umesh, not Sujit. Is Umesh.
Yeah. Please, Umesh. Yeah.
So he has shared the screen. You might have to explain it.
Yeah. So participants, there are able to hear. I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, there are three steps. 3 steps to log into the quiz. Basically, the quiz is in 3 portions. When it will happen finally on the day of the grand finale day. The first, the total participants will attend the quiz through these 3 steps. You need to log in through the step number 1 by typing www.keypad.my/myplay. That is www.keypad.my/myplay. my play.
Gameplay.
Where M play, yeah. You need to enter that and on any of the browser. Okay. On the step 2, if you look at the step 2, which is noted here, as soon as you enter this, you will get the keypad login. You need to type your 10-digit mobile number here, and you will come to the step 3. Your keypad will be on for entering. It will show complete option for entering into the quiz program. So these are the 3 steps. You want to take the screenshot of this, please take screenshot of this picture, and because this is very, very important. Unless you do it correctly, you will not be logged into the quiz program.
This link is also posted in the chat box. So all the participants can take it from the chat box and log in from their mobile on this URL.
Yeah, exactly. The next step. The next slide, please. So you will get the question number 1. Basically, the question starts. Hello, can you show the question? Yeah. So as soon as you enter, you will get to know the first question. For example, it is a question which is given for understanding and also the look and feel of the complete picture of how the questions are arranged in this order. You know, first question is, who is the current Prime Minister of India? That is A, Rahul Gandhi, B, Narendra Modi, C, Amit Shah, D is Anna Hazare. So your time starts. To answer this, you will get 15 seconds of time, and the right answer, that is the choice 1 right answer, you are going to get 15 points. The second choice, second 2 choices, if you can select 2 choices, either A or B. One of the choices right, then you will get 8 points. If you don't want to answer, you pass it, you will get 4 points. Wrong answer is 0 point. You just need to see that. The first right choice, you get 15 points. 2 choices, 1 is good answer in that right answer, then you will get 8 points. Pass 4 points, and wrong answer is 0 points. So there will be a surprise questions that is called a double up. So you will get your answer is correct for the double up displayed question. You will get 30 points, and at the same time, if it is a wrong answer, you lose 15 points. So all your scores are tabulated. Can we go to the next slide? Tabulated, and it will be shown at the end of a particular number of questions. Say after every 5 questions or 10 questions, that will be displayed. You can see your answers also there and then. Next, please. Yeah. Now once your 15 seconds are over, then the answer will be disclosed now. Yeah. Yeah. This is the sound you will going to hear. There will not be any discussion in between. We may tell the question again, but the clock starts and it ends at 0 seconds. So this is the beep you will going to hear. Now after that, you need to use your keypad and pressing the answer. So you go back to the key. Yeah. So now what we understand before disclosing the answer, about 39% of people said it's A, 61 said it's B, and your answers will come now. Yeah, C is the wrong answer. A, C, D is the wrong answer. Right answer is B, and the first correct answered person is Okay, Umesh.
No, Prasanna, that will be in buzzer round. Here, the first person name will not come.
So you can see the keypad which is appearing. You can see that this is where you need to use the keypad to answer answer your questions, right? Is it visible? Yep. Right. Thank you. And this is how it goes. For the first round is for 40 questions, and the immediately after the last question, the selected 25 winners will be announced, and those 25 winners will go for second round. From there, it goes to the last round is the buzzer round that will be highlighted by Mr. Subhash Deshpande now.
Okay, thank you, Prasanna. And
welcome, sir.
And good evening, everyone. My name is Subhash Deshpande, and I'm going to conduct round number 3. As Prasanna told you that from whatever 800 plus, we're going to come down to 25, and in 2 rounds. And the third round will be from 25 will come down to 6, and the third round will be attended only by those 6 people who have won round 1 and round 2. So those winners, 6 winners, are going to attend round 3, and let's talk about round 3 now. Round 3 has some questions without option, like there may not be options A, B, C, D like this. There may be some questions without any option, and in that case you have to speak and give the answer. But since there are going to be only limited people, it is possible that you can unmute your computer and give the answer. Then there are some questions where there is a option A, B, C, D, and the same thing, double answer A, B, C, D, etc. Everything will be same. For the buzzer round, the marks will be +10 for the correct answer and -10 for the wrong answer. So in this buzzer round, how to get the buzzer? That is the first thing. So you already have your keypad with you. You already have the keypad. Please hold, Umeji. You already have the keypad. In the keypad, you have your participation number. Just touch only once on the participant number, and you will have the buzzer on. You can press the buzzer only once, and the first person who presses the buzzer will appear on the screen, and he will have the chance to give the answer. There is no pass. You cannot pass the question. You have to give the answer, either it is correct or it is wrong. And from these 6 people, we are going to select 3 topmost participants who will be the winners of this All India show, IPPL. So are you guys ready? Can we try 1 or 2 questions of the buzzer round? Do you have the buzzer on? I'll give some time for you to get the buzzer on your keypad, and you can try the questions yourself, and let us see who wins the first chance to give the right answer on buzzer round. Umeji, can we have the first question, please? Okay, here is the question. Which picture is better and why? There are 2 options, option 1 and option 2. Look at the picture carefully. Abhirami is the winner, and the first buzzer was given by her, and Abhirami, what is the option? You have to select the option A or B.
Sir, we have to bring him on the screen now.
Okay.
Sujit, can you bring him to Mr. Abhirami?
I don't see any Abhirami here.
We have Abhimanyu. It is appearing as Abhirami. We don't have any attendee named Abhirami in our list.
All right, it's okay. I think we can manage with that. Let us assume that Abhirami has given the option 2 as the correct answer, and let us see what is the correct answer. Option 1 is the correct answer in this case, and Abhirami gets minus 15 marks for this. This is how we are going to work. Because of the minus mark, there is a sorry sound over there. Otherwise, you will have a full claps over there. So minus 10 points for Abhirami. Let's try one more question, or let's try the same question again. And you will press the buzzer only after I read the question completely. So the question is, which picture is better and why? Though you know the answer now, Nagappan can give the answer. Nagappan, can we contact him?
Yes, sir, he is there. So we can.
Yeah.
Sujit, can you please unmute him?
Mr. Nagappan, please speak up.
Option 2.
Option 2. Okay, thank you, Nagappan. You have selected option 2 as the right answer. Let us see which is the better picture, option 1 or option 2. Umeji? Oh, Nagappan, you gave wrong answer. You are going to get minus 15 marks. Option 1 is the correct answer. All right, so friends, I think you have got the hint of how it's going to be held. Round number 3. It's going to be very exciting. Don't miss it. Even though you are not in top 25 participants, then top 6 participants, please attend, watch it live. It's going to be very, very interesting. Don't miss it. And it's also a very good learning experience for you. Thank you so much.
For just to conclude, there are 3 sessions. That is 600 participants to 40, 40 to 25, 25 to 6. Is that Subhashji?
Absolutely, that's correct.
Yeah.
So
right.
the first round will have more questions. The first round will have more questions. I'm not 40, sir. Giving you exactly how many.
Sorry,
the second
you
round
can convey that,
lesser
Shushanji.
It is from total participant to 25, then 25 to 6.
Yeah. So the first
Then
question
is
will
the
have
final
many
selection.
questions, and it might go on for 1 hour or so. The next second and third session or round will be shorter one with lesser questions, but the questions will be little tougher. You have to use your general knowledge, you have to use common sense sometimes to answer those questions. So be prepared. Wish you all the best, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Subhash sir and Prasanna sir, for giving us a demo of the finale quiz. So it's definitely going to be a very exciting experience for all the participants, and we wish them good luck. Definitely, the detailed instructions will be given to you during the finale also on December 5th. But this was just to give you a hang of how it is going to be conducted, and you are a little prepared for it. So time now for us to move to the quiz for the day. So let me just give you the instructions for the quiz. So participants are requested, the quiz is going to be held after we complete this session. There's going to be a 15 minutes break. And we are now extending the login time also. After we start the session, after we start the quiz, still you can log in 5 to 10 minutes so that you do not have the pressure of logging in time after finishing the learning session. The link for the quiz, for joining the quiz, is ippl2020.limitlesscloud.in. And this link remains same, but it for all the quizzes, but it gets activated only after the learning session. So do not mix up or confuse between the Zoom link and the quiz link. Both the links are separate. You have the option of attending the quiz on Saturday or Sunday at your convenience, but not on both the days. Also, the login is for only single use. As I said, the login remains same, but it gets activated only after the session, the learning session gets finished. And please do not use common ID. Everybody has a distinct ID which should be used to log into this quiz screen. And then link will be enabled only at the end of the learning session. Use your laptop or PC to read the questions comfortably and benefit from easy to scroll. Internet network is good. Ensure that you have a good internet, and you are properly connected. Google Chrome is recommended, but the quiz will work on all major browsers. Don't try to press the refresh or back button. This will lead to invalidating your submission. And organizers are not responsible for any poor network, sudden login or logout issues, or errors, or any kind of technical glitches. So I hope it was a very interesting session for all of you participants today, because we tried this panel discussion to give you the gist of the entire sessions that we have had through IPPL 2020. So you get the takeaways from the entire learning sessions and what should be applied in the ground realities and according to the challenges you face in the field. So I would like to say good luck to all of you. Attend the quiz for today and be prepared for the finale quiz. You have 2 weeks. Prepare well, go through all the session presentations and the read-only copy of codes and HGGP that has been provided to you. And take good care of yourself, and see you all in the finale. Thank you. Good night.